I'd just like to say thank you very much for everybody who's come out and attended this, particularly on a wet, rainy afternoon.
Can you close to the mic?
You can hear me? Can everybody hear me? Yeah. So really the purpose of today is for us to really discuss discuss and define advanced chip packaging so that we can move forward towards a shared vision and understanding of the proposed capabilities of the Advanced Manufacturing Research Facility. We've got a few speakers today who are going to be talking about advanced chip packaging as well as the AMRF facilities planned for Western Sydney. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge and pay respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. It is upon their ancestral lands that we gather today. We recognise and pay respect to the elders and communities. For thousands of years, they have shared and exchanged knowledge across innumerable generations for the benefit of all. As we share our own knowledge, teaching and learning, as well as research practices, we also pay respect to the knowledge embedded forever within the Aboriginal custodianship of country. So today we're going to be talking about advanced chip packaging. So this is becoming an increasing trend within the industry. So this transformative approach breaks away from the single chip per package model, improving performance and time to market while reducing manufacturing costs and power consumption. Advanced multi-chip packaging also substantially minimises the semiconductor form factor, making it well suited to a variety of applications. So with that, there is some thoughts that advanced packaging is going to reshape the industry. There was a recent BCG article, this came out a few weeks ago, and I recommend you read it if you haven't, which captured the impacts of advanced packaging in the sector. So what does that mean for the industry? That they indicated that where previously a large share of the value capture and innovation has been concentrated in chip design, the share contributed by advanced package design is going to rise significantly, and system design will become more strategically important. Similarly, there's going to be a shift in innovation from the front end to back end, and the package will become a point of differentiation, pivotal to system performance. As the supply chain adapts to these changes, industry players are going to position themselves to sustain their differentiation within the value chain. So there is a big impact that advanced packaging is going to have not only on the manufacture of chips, but also on the design. And I think that's really important to think about as we enter into this discussion. So for those of you who don't know, I'm sure all of you do know the Semiconductor Sector Service Bureau, but our role is really to support the growth and impact of the semiconductor sector here in Australia. And we've been working very closely with the Western Parkland City Authority on the development of the Advanced Manufacturing Research Facility. So our first speaker today is Ben Kitcher, who's the Executive Director of the Advanced Manufacturing Research Facility. And he's going to get up and tell us a little bit about what's happening with Building 2 and the developments that are happening around it. Thanks very much, Ben.
Thank you, Nadia. I think she understates actually the role she plays and S3B in helping and guide us in what we're doing with AMRF. I think Nadia's phone must ring 3 or 4 times a week from me asking if I'm doing something silly at any given point and keeping me on the straight and narrow, which is very, very much appreciated. So today I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on where we are and share some thinking on where it is we want to go and what it is we're trying to do with the AMRF. So, firstly, we'll just have a look. What is the AMRF? For those who haven't seen it already, what are we trying to do with the AMRF? So, I'm going to put my hands up first off and say I am not an expert in semiconductor technology. I'm very grateful to those who join on the stage today who can fill in the gaps that I certainly can't. But something I am very well aware of and something that I've worked in for a long time now is supporting manufacturing industries in adopting new technologies, bringing in capabilities, upskilling staff, but critically realizing real-world benefits in terms of their operations and implementing in a cost-effective and low-risk way new manufacturing technologies. And that underpins everything the AMRF will be doing. So in terms of, for categories there, number one is deliver the manufacturing solutions that help improve productivity, quality, robustness of manufacturing systems, etc. Next, upskill manufacturing staff who can take on, manage, maintain, upgrade those technologies when they have been implemented in industry. Next up, I think it's particularly key for the phase 2 of the AMRF is then provides that translation pathway, not only to commercialization of products as they come out of the laboratory, but also industrialization to some extent of those technologies as they are discovered. And then finally, and this is a really important one, and I'd say one that is being exemplified today, not by us, but by S3B, of course, is foster the networking and create the ecosystem, bring us all together around common cause. And that will begin in our first facility that I'll show you very shortly. So the AMRF has been a New South Wales government funded program. For those who don't know, it's funded in 2 stages. So stage 1 is very shortly to open. And I'll show you a picture of where we're up to with this facility now. And then stage 2 is due to open in 2026. And I'll give you an update on where that facility is. Now, by funding this and by setting this up in 2 stages, it's given us the option or the ability to actually address 2 parts of our manufacturing industry at once. Number 1 in the first facility is to support the existing manufacturing industry in New South Wales. So that manufacturing industry is typically making heavy goods out of metallics and composites, big things, and is looking to employ technologies that automate, that become more competitive, that goes into higher value products and higher value industries, and that's what that facility will be doing. But of course today we're here to look at AMRF Stage 2. And AMRF Stage 2 was our opportunity to look at where do we want manufacturing in New South Wales to go in the future? Where do we want to actually build on some of our opportunities, invest in manufacturing capability, and realise some of the outcomes here in New South Wales? So this facility, the pictures of this one are relatively new. The reason for that is the design is currently on public exhibition. And once we've gone through the planning process, the state significant development application, we'll be moving into contracting and putting shovels in the ground on this facility, which I'm incredibly excited about. Quick update on Building 1. So this is the first facility as of April. It has since progressed again. I understand you can lock it up. It's dry inside, I confirm that. And it will very shortly have power. So we'll be moving into this facility very shortly. Something that I'm really excited about is the fact that if you go back to our renders, and these renders are several years old now, we are making this thing come to life exactly as planned. And I think that's really important to build trust, to show that when we show something, when we say we're going to do it, we go ahead and we are going to do it. This facility, I think in the first instance, will become a standout, pull people together for that more mechanical manufacturing industry, but also provide some services I think that are very relevant to the semiconductor manufacturing industry too. Now finally, just on the AMRF and what it is, I want to highlight this again. So the AMRF is here to target a very specific part of the development ecosystem, and that is specifically the manufacturing readiness levels 1 through to 6. And these are capabilities, or these are areas which I don't think are necessarily always addressed. And when we look at manufacturing readiness levels, there are various definitions, whether you're looking at the originators and NASA, whether you're looking at automotive associations from around the world, they will usually converge on one point. And that's when you're going through manufacturing readiness level 5. Typically, that's where you need to start to demonstrate your processes in a production relevant environment on production relevant equipment. And that's really hard to access. It's big, it's expensive, it's typically fairly inflexible. This is what we need to put in place in these facilities. It's the production relevant capabilities that move us through those manufacturing readiness levels and ultimately lead us to final investment decisions into manufacturing in the semiconductor space. So I'm going to go very quickly across the technical scope. Again, as I say, this is not my area of specialty, and I'm very hopeful that this will be covered later in the day. But needless to say, advanced packaging is where we have come to in terms of where should we start with the capabilities in the AMRF in Building 2. Advanced packaging was something that was recommended to us a number of years ago. We went, we researched, we looked at potential opportunities, we consulted, and we began to build this confidence that actually this is a place where we as New South Wales, as Australia, can really build a foothold in terms of a component of the global supply chain, which could be incredibly relevant to our needs, but also provide an export opportunity. So we'll go into the specific technologies later, but this is something where we will have to be, to some extent, selective about the types of capabilities within the broad church of advanced packaging. We need to work together in terms of the definition of what those capabilities are. And I really do welcome you to give us your feedback. Where should we be going with this? What do we need? What's going to give us the best outcome for not just the manufacturing industry, but those businesses, researchers, in the entire value chain, to make sure that actually we can take learning from this and apply it and move our operations forwards. So very quickly, I'm aware I've set myself a timer because I know I waffle. I've got 2.5 minutes. Okay, so very quickly, building design. This is AMRF Building 2, and you can see this is a 12,000 square metre facility. It is predominantly clean room and associated infrastructure. It also has an extension to manufacturing hall in this facility. It has supporting office space, etc. When you take that next to Facility 1, you can see it's a huge jump in terms of scale and ambition for this facility. It's currently out on exhibition, as I say, and if you have feedback on this design, please do send it our way. It's going to help us make a better outcome. If we look very quickly at the contents and how this building is made up, you can see that here we have essentially two separate components to the building. On the one side, on the left-hand side of the picture, you can see what's effectively our clean room space with laboratories and stable labs on the ground floor. And then as we move across the courtyards to a separated part of the facility, this is where we've got our collaboration space, some space for other companies to come and work in the facility alongside us, and the infrastructure that surrounds a building like this. So I'll go very quickly through here. So finally, before I conclude, I just wanted to look at 2030 outlook. You know, this is no short endeavour. I personally have been working on this now for over 4 years, and we will soon get a shovel in the ground, I promise. So you know, it's no short endeavour, and to build the capabilities is probably the biggest challenge in here. You know, once we have the facility open. Where are we going to go? Like, what do we want to see come out of this? And this is really my call to you to come and participate and tell us where you think this will go to. And I'll give you a starting point. So last year, I was lucky enough to go with Nadia and go to Taiwan. We visited Hsinchu, and we visited the science park there. Now, as part of that, we spoke to the authority who manage and build that science park and provide space for the research organisations, but also businesses such as TSMC who call it home. And they told us this fantastic story about the growth of Hsinchu, the growth of the science park and where they've come from. And from a technology point of view, how it has developed and how they've built this giant within the global supply chain. And I was incredibly surprised to learn that actually all of the story of Taiwan's success in terms of the integrated circuit and semiconductor industry began way before, in terms of supply and manufacture of peripherals, relatively simple peripherals, supplying into a new PC market. Now this may very well be common knowledge, or you may already know this, but to me this is incredibly insightful. It tells me that we have to put a stake in the ground, we have to begin somewhere. I think we can begin relatively ambitiously. I think we can begin with our advanced packaging capability and specifically supporting that with incredibly strong, relevant research capabilities in materials science in particular. As we look forwards though, I'm really intrigued to understand where you think we can go with this. Where can we build around that packaging capability into the future, and where could we head? So in summary, this is what we're aiming for. So 2030, the facility will be open in 2026. 2030, is where I think we'll have some miles under our wheels, we'll be moving. What can we hang our hat on? What can we say that we've done? And where are we going? I think at this point, having a advanced materials development, but probably characterization, more specifically capability, not just in the AMRF, but in the surrounding ecosystem as well, like food industry and research together in that. The test inspection facilities that go around that, and then probably uniquely within the facility is the packaging solutions. So supporting, we endeavour a broad range and growing quantum space, but also various other applications as well. So I think that goes to Nadia's point, opening up as well, that we have an opportunity here to come around to support this effort from a number of different positions within a value chain. But this is something that I think can be universally helpful, but we also need to strive forwards together. Thank you very much.